In life, it doesn't matter how many times you fall. What matters most is how many times you get back up stronger and better. That, my friends, is also the case in the NBA. So for today's video, we'll be taking a look at the most outstanding and incredible player comebacks that we've ever seen in the history of the NBA. Someone even claimed an NBA championship even after receiving big news about actually having a heart disease. So stay tuned. But before all that, let me remind you to leave a like, subscribe, and smash the notification bell button to get the latest updates on all things related to the world of basketball. Let's begin! Number 10. Amar'e Stoudemaire. Amar'e Stoudemaire was one of the most explosive and brightest stars during the highlight of his NBA career. But because of his over-enthusiasm and recklessness, Stoudemaire's career was mired with several injuries. The worst one was sustaining a microfracture cartilage damage on his knee that knocked him out for the 2005 to 2006 season. Amar'e couldn't play his best, but he did show grit and determination to play 3 more games before he went under the knife. Fortunately, the surgery was successful, allowing Stat to average 20.4 points and 9.6 rebounds, a feat he was not able to accomplish prior to his major injury. Now, if he could make another comeback, that would allow him to rise through this rank. We'll see. Number 9. Baron Davis. If there's anyone who fell out of luck in the NBA, it's none other than Charlotte Hornets' 3rd overall pick, Baron Davis. Back then, there was a pretty good reason to pick Davis with his size better suited for a football star than a baller. Davis was such a powerhouse point guard but had so many health issues ranging from a sore back to ankle problems that he eventually missed 32 games with the Hornets. Fortunately, he made an amazing comeback in 2005 after being traded to the Golden State Warriors and was even playing an average of 19.5 points and 8.3 assists. Although the reason why Baron Davis is a bit low on this list is because of the fact that his comeback was short-lived. The all-star player got riddled with so many injuries that a serious one led to premature ending of his NBA career. Number 8. Derrick Rose. For better or for worse, the Wind City's main man Derrick Rose still belongs to this list. However, we all know that Rose is no longer with the Bulls. But maybe he could rejoin his beloved team at some point, right? A girl could dream. We are now witnessing what could be the full comeback of the league's youngest MVP after years of unforgiving injuries, including a torn ACL in 12-13. If you don't believe me, then let's just say that he was able to score his career-high 50 points against the Utah Jazz right off the bat of season 2018 to 2019. Plus, experts have been noticing how his jumpers are getting better and better. Maybe he's really back for good. Number 7. Al Jefferson. While Al Jefferson's NBA days are behind him, we did see a marked improvement in Timberwolves year after year since he sustained an ACL tear in season 2008 to 2009. Pre-injury, Jefferson was chipping less than 15 points, 8.5 boards, and just 1 assist. But after his defining comeback, he was a hell of a lot stronger and contributed almost 20 points, 9.7 rebounds, and 2 assists. It was going good for the Big Classic, so much so that he was named to the All-NBA 3rd team, first for his entire career. Number 6. Kyle Lowry. From ACL to wrist injuries, Kyle Lowry was no stranger to getting benched due to health issues. But the biggest one he had to deal with was a wrist injury that kept him from playing a total of 18 games in 2017. Lowry suffered the injury early on in the year during the Raptors' match-up with the Hornets. But the Toronto Raptors hung in there and he was able to bounce back, leading a defining win over the Detroit Pistons. The all-star player stayed on court for 42 minutes and brought 7 points and 10 assists to deliver the victory to the Raptors on a golden plate despite a 20-point deficit in the first half of the game. Now that's what I call a comeback. Number 5. Chris Paul. Given the enormous responsibility placed on his shoulders, Chris Paul's exit in February of 2010 had serious repercussions for the New Orleans Pelicans. But he had no choice because he had to deal with an excruciatingly painful meniscus tear if he ever wanted to return to the hard court. Apparently, the injury was beyond repair, so his doctor decided to remove the cartilage of his right knee. However, it wasn't even obvious that CP was injured with the way he handled himself on court since joining the Clippers in 2011. Chris Paul was just as good as before, averaging nearly double almost every game. Number 4. Channing Frye. Dilated cardiomyopathy. That's the diagnosis for Cleveland Cavaliers' Channing Frye back in 2012. In other words, player had an enlarged heart due to a virus. While this disease doesn't always have obvious symptoms, it could still lead to several heart problems and even sudden death. So that year was a devastating year for Frye, since not only did he have to miss out the entire 12 to 13 season, he also had to undergo a series of tests and surgeries with not just his career but his whole life on the line. Miraculously, Frye was able to make a full recovery and even obtained clearance to play in the big league once more. While he couldn't shoot in as big as he did back in the day, the mere fact that he got healthy enough to make a comeback in the NBA is enough to put him on this list. Number 3. Willis Reed. Speaking of miracles, the case of New York Knicks player Willis Reed is such a special one, we cannot just simply ignore it. Reed's career has been stained with several injuries, just like any other NBA player. But what makes him so special is how he stayed strong during the NBA Finals in 1970. It was a career-defining Game 7 for Reed after he scored only 2 first-quarter hoops to inspire the rest of his team to win the championship title. Why is scoring 2 baskets that inspiring, you might ask? Well, let's just say that in Game 5, Reed suffered a torn thigh muscle which we can only imagine to be oh so painful. So that he meant he was on painkillers just to dull the effect of the injury and still managed to score some points. But that's not all. The following season, Willis Reed made a full recovery and led the team to another all-star campaign. Number 2. Shaun Livingston. We've already talked about Shaun Livingston's gruesome injury in 2007 in a previous video. But for those who might not know this, Livingston's knee exploded in front of national TV. That's a combo breaker of ACL, PCL, and meniscus injury coupled with a sprained MCL and dislocated patella to boot. His comeback was painfully slow though. He returned just barely the guy he was before and had to completely reinvent himself as a point guard, which was rewarded by a 3-year, $16 million deal with the GSW. Number 1. Paul George. Lastly, we have Paul George. Yeah, I know, his subpar performance at the Orlando bubble makes him a bit off the public's good graces. But that doesn't mean he doesn't deserve recognition for the way he made a comeback after a shocking injury. But unlike all other players on the list, PG sustained his injury prior to the 2014 FIBA World Cup. It was so painful to watch George collide with a stanchion while his left leg bent at an almost perpendicular level with a bone coming out of his shattered leg. This was definitely one of the worst injuries ever to be seen from an NBA player. In less than a year since the incident, Paul George returned to the league with an understandable slow start. But in 2016, he finally regained his full strength and even made it all the way to the US Olympic team that backed gold in the Summer Olympics. PG-13 then went on to make all-star appearances in 2 seasons with an average of 24 points, 7.9 rebounds, and 4.4 assists. And that ends our list of the 10 NBA players who miraculously made a comeback after sustaining serious injuries. Did we miss anyone out? Please be sure to thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you loved it for more awesome content from our channel. Leave a comment down below for what you think our next video should be. Till next time, peace!